Yes, guys, hello. Welcome to the Spurs Related YouTube channel once again. And I hope you're all doing well today. And today I'm joined by two co-hosts. Makes a little bit of a change. We've got Joe alongside me, the original co-host, and we've got Andre, the more recent co-host. How are you both doing, guys? How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah, well, good.
Never been better.
Didn't realize there was a ranking system in place, but we'll go with it.
Yeah. Just ranked you into new and old, sort of like both. Yeah, like original gamer maybe. But anyway, without going too off topic, are you guys looking forward to the FA Cup weekend, Joe? I know you, from a different point of view, maybe looking forward to it. But how are we both feeling about football being back again?
I'll let Andre go as the Spurs fan.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. Well, again, like I said last time, we should be winning this. I'm excited to see what happens with Kulusevski and Bentancur, especially with all this recent news right now that Skip and I think it's Tanganga who are out right now with injury.
Yep.
So that's a little unfortunate. Mainly the Skip one, but it's always good to have other players on the bench. Tanganga would be good to have on the bench, but I mean, it's fine. Son's back, Romero's back. I think those are some good trade-offs, to be honest, if we had to sort of pick two to come in and two to step off for a little bit. And I'm excited to see what these new players, Bentancur and Kulusevski, bring to the table as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be interesting to see if one of them, or even potentially both of them, are a feature. I think Kulusevski more than likely. I think I know Bentancur's work permit was only just cleared the other day, so I know there was a bit of complication with that, but let's hope to see at least one of them. Joe, how are you feeling about obviously Spurs' new signings? Do you think they're good signings? Do you think we did good business, or do you think it was a bit average?
I think you got to be happy. I mean, you were obviously upset the whole window that you weren't signing anyone, so the fact that you've got people in has got to be a good thing. And the fact that Paratici and Conte, they're the Italian link, they must obviously trust the players they brought in. If anyone's going to get midfielders playing and wide players playing, well, it's going to be Conte. So you got to be happy in that respect. I like the Kulusevski. He's gone off the board a bit recently, but I really liked him as a young player at Juventus. I was more of a fan, because I like the young players doing well, and especially when they're in a team with big forwards, it's nice to see them do well. But yeah, it should be good. I think you needed to add competition for that wide area, because I know Lucas has been amazing this season. Obviously, you've been a bit short with Son out, but you need competition up there. And you also need someone in the midfield. And Bentancur is definitely an aggressive midfielder, and you need a bit of that in midfield, because I think you lack in that area, other than when Winks just picks up a yellow card. But no, I think it's good. I'm excited for the FA Cup to be back. It's kind of a mixture, because the FA Cup always produces some upsets, and it's very unpredictable. And then add that in with off the back of a break when there's going to be a few extra mistakes here and there. It's going to be a good watch. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. What game are you looking forward to the most? I know obviously we're a Spurs channel, and you got to kind of say Spurs to an extent, but on the other fixtures, who are you looking forward to?
I mean, tonight, United are playing Middlesbrough. I'd love it if Borough could get a result. That'd be great. The Liverpool Cardiff one's an interesting one. I think the last time we played them in the cup is when we won the final of the Carabao Cup in 2011. So that should be interesting. Yeah, I think, to be fair, Tottenham Brighton's one of the better games there. I'm looking forward to, I think it's Kidderminster against West Ham, just for a classic FA Cup match.
Yeah,
but this is one of the good games. I know that you should win, and you've won the last 4 games ever since they got promoted at home. But Brighton, they've earned a lot of respect recently. From the big teams, they got a draw at Anfield already this season, which was annoying. They've given you some problems. So I think it should be a good game, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. Brighton having a great season. You're spot on, Joe. It's definitely not going to be a turnover. Let's introduce some of the guys we've got in the chat. Really appreciate the support. As always, Kane's in here. Kane the long shot. Game day. Cannot wait tomorrow, mate. It's going to be fantastic to see football back. It feels like it's been a while, but at the same time, it probably has only been, 2 weeks since our last game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah, I also think it's because of the window, right? Things were going nuts that last week. We're just over Monday and everything.
It does feel like a long time.
It does feel like a long time. I'm trying to think when the last Premier League game was. Was it Leicester? Or no, there was one since then.
No, it was the Chelsea one, I'm pretty sure. Wasn't it?
Of course. Yeah, because we played him in the cup, then the league, of course. Yeah. You're right. I tried to forget about that one. Ayanami's in here, says, as per, by the way, says, so excited for tomorrow night. I love the games at night. Yeah, it's such a good vibe there, man. It's such a good atmosphere. And I feel like the night games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium are probably a little bit better. I don't know, everyone's maybe people have had a bit more time to get on the source and all that. So potentially it does make a difference, but especially obviously the Champions League nights and the Europa League nights. Let's hope to get at least one of them back next year. Hopefully the first of the two. Mark Cousins is in it. Mark, I saw you subscribed literally an hour ago. Big yourself up, mate. He says, big up you guys. Surely you've got to win a cup one day. 31 years without an FA Cup is too long. It hurt me to say that, Mark. It really did. I've never seen us win an FA Cup. Neither of these two. But yeah, it's just a shame. But even the fact that we've been 14 years without a trophy, blimey. I mean, it's shocking, really. But
don't forget the Audi Cup.
Yeah, but we've had like 6 finals since. That's the thing that makes it so hard. Like countless Carabao Cup finals, countless League Cup finals, couple of FA Cup finals, obviously the Champions League final, which Joe obviously enjoyed. But, in all seriousness, the fact that we've got so far but not quite near enough is obviously a massive shame. But, yeah, completely echo your thoughts there, Mark. And Kane says it's because the transfer window feels like a year. It does. All those, to count the amount of days we were linked to Adama Traore, what, about 58? Yeah, it was just unbelievable. It did feel like it dragged, and everything happened at the end. So, yeah, completely get what you're saying there. Andre, just before, obviously, actually, before I do go over to Andre, obviously, guys, this is a fan phone-in show. Anyone in the chat is welcome to come on and express their opinions, their thoughts on the weekend's games, or the Tottenham game in particular, and your opinions on the transfer window. It'd be great to hear from you. So if you do want the link to join this very stream, just put it in the chat and we'll send it over to you and we'll get that sorted. But, Andre, Saturday's game, obviously tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, under the lights of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What are your thoughts, or what are your concerns, perhaps, as well, for Brighton?
Well, as Joe mentioned, Brighton has put some respect in the club's name. They have a few draws to them, so I'd be very concerned that we pull a draw and then we have to go to penalties.
Yeah. Most amount of draws in the Premier League, by the way. I think they got 12 draws, is it, Joe?
They love a 1-1.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they love a 1-1.
More draws than wins or losses, and they're like 8th or 9th in the league, I think. So they're having a good season. They just can't get the wins that they need to, but that perhaps would put them as maybe even a top 6 club, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and every time Kane takes a pen, I'm usually very calm about it, but because it's been so long since he's missed one, every time he takes one, I'm like, this is the one he's gonna miss, and it's gonna cost us. But it doesn't. But that would also concern me as well. If we go to pens and then Kane has to take it, and what a way to start the last 3 months of this season that we really need to grind out by having Kane miss the pen or something. I feel it inside that something like that could happen. So I'm just hoping that we don't 1-1 this game and we just get the win. So
if it goes to penalty, you win, in my opinion. They're not very good at penalties. They don't have a taker. They've had Gross who misses. They have Morpay who misses. They keep recycling it. And in front of goal on from the penalty spot, they're so poor, in my opinion. But obviously, at that point, it's such a coin flip, isn't it?
Yeah. Penalties are always just luck to an extent, This is the right way.
I can't do with penalties. Like it's just a lucky dip. Like we saw was it Cameroon versus Egypt penalties yesterday. Our old boy Clinton and Joe with one of the worst penalties I think I've seen this year. Certainly this year. It was just unbelievable, guys. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. But Cameroon, sorry, I've done it again. Yeah, Cameroon 3-1 defeat on penalties, wasn't it, Joel? 4-1 in the end. I mean, it was just it was they missed 3 penalties, didn't they?
Egypt are loving it. They've gone through the last 2 rounds drawing 0-0, winning on pens.
Yeah. I mean the way you're saying it, right? I mean, didn't England miss 3 pens in the Euro final as well? It happens.
I was after
on the day, if you're not feeling it and the goalkeeper's feeling it, it's over. So
someone's confident that Canada are actually going to qualify for a competition. That sounds nice.
We're 1 game away. If we
How many years have it been? Like 20 something?
1986.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry to come at you, but the Italy thing will never leave me. That's fine. Jonathan David scored again though the other night. Sorry.
I'm Canadian. I'm too nice to retaliate, so it's fine.
You are too nice.
Army says, I feel like there will be a tension tonight with United and Middlesbrough fans. I think they'll try to agitate United fans about some recent events. Wow, yeah, good point. Yeah, I can
Middlesbrough,
imagine.
savage.
I can imagine if it probably could get brought up by a particular set of fans with also low morals if they're going to really bring that into it. But it's expected at the end of the day with football fans, especially away fans, when they've had a few, jars after a trip to Old Trafford. They like to have a bit of fun. It's part of almost the culture, but. Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be brought up by some teams, isn't it? It's just possible. Um, I think that'll be a good game tonight. Without going on to that, I think United, Middlesbrough, Joe, you're right. It will be an interesting one, especially with what's happening at United at the moment. Obviously, getting rid of Martial, and then obviously being light with Greenwood now. It's going to be interesting how they set up at top and how their bench looks. And I think Lingard's been given a rest to recover. So
yeah, I don't understand all of that. He apparently really wanted to leave, and then they denied it. I'm not going to talk about it, but I think he's been massively undermined by the whole Greenwood situation. I think they would have happily let him go, and then obviously that's come out, and they're holding on to players. So I feel really sorry for him, because I do want him to do well. He's a good player, and I don't like anyone being stuck at a big club. And Chelsea are a good example of that. But
yeah, things can also change, right? Because in a way, that was how Kane felt at the end of the summer window last time, right? So
yeah,
look how things have changed then. So we'll see what happens with Manchester United there. But King Longshot here has got I completely agree with that. For penalties, yeah, it's a degree of luck. Prep the keeper.
Yeah, coin flip. It literally is flip over coin. Exposure channels on it. It says DT from AFTV is a tosser, just like the South London filth. I mean, you're not wrong, mate. It's an interesting point, and thanks for your input. Guys, there's around 20 of you in here so far. I'm sure there's one of you that maybe wants to join, talk about Spurs' results. We have got a couple people coming through already. But if you want to get into that queue and talk to us live on the stream, make sure you let us know in the comments, and we'll get you straight into this stream to talk Spurs. It's always a bit of a fun getting fans on, and it's kind of a new thing we're trying to do every Friday. So we'd really appreciate your support in making it a really enjoyable kind of watch for all our viewers. And also, it's good to get Spurs rants off your chest. If you've got something to say and you want an opinion or want to tell us about your opinion and discuss, then you're in the right place. So just let us know. Another bot in the chat. I'm just going to ban them quickly. But yeah, going back to the subject. Of obviously the end of the window, Joe. We want to get your thoughts on that. So obviously Kulusevski coming in, Bentancur coming in very late, and obviously getting rid of Dele Alli on a permanent to Everton, Lo Celso on a loan to Villarreal, Ndombele on a loan to buy, which is a ridiculous option to buy 65 million. I don't think that'll be triggered to Lyon. And then Brian Hill on loan to Valencia, who apparently played very well in his first game over there in the Copa del Rey. Do you think that's good business from Spurs, or do you think it puts us a little bit light getting rid of 4 and getting in 2? Well, technically getting rid of 5 if you're including Dylan Markanday from the academy, who was Premier League 2 Player of the Month 2 months in a row, and we got rid of him to Blackburn on a permanent. What are your thoughts on all of that?
I mean, Dele was in and out of the squad, if kind of not really featuring. I think it's good because we've been saying for a long time about getting rid of Deadwood, and I feel like they're finally kind of getting underway with doing that. And I know that you may be light in terms of numbers on a straight transactional regard, but if you're going to get in 2 players that are going to help and perform in the squad, and getting rid of some that are on the outskirts not really doing much, I think that's positive. I think that's great. There's nothing wrong with working with a tight squad. I think it's good. I mean, we need to see him in action. Obviously, I know Benton, of course, scored the other night for Uruguay and looked quite good. But I need to see him in action in the Prem, because obviously Lo Celso is like Messi for Argentina and can't do it in the Prem. So we'll see. And in contrast, Luis Diaz, who you missed out on, looked absolutely woeful for Colombia. They've gone 7 World Cup qualifiers without scoring a goal now. That's crazy, isn't it? They're not going to make the World Cup.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it should be good. I think you needed someone with a bit of cutting edge in midfield. So I don't know if it means that Winks will drop out or whatever. But Ndombele just needed to get gone. I think Dele personally needed to go. So I think it's good. I think it's positive. I'm always up for change when it's necessary. And we've been going on about it for years. And there's probably a few more players you'd probably want to get out as well. So
yeah, definitely, absolutely. Joe, you're spot on. And I think a lot of people are feeling a little bit positive about this, because that Deadwood needed to be shifted, like you said at the end there. Andre, do you think, I know we've obviously had our long stream the other day, but do you think on reflection, and you've taken a step back and looked at it, do you think it's maybe better than that 6 out of 10 you gave it the other day in this window, or do you think you still stick by the fact we may be 1 or 2 short?
Well, I originally gave it a 7 and then was leaning between 7 and 6.5. And I stand with the fact that it could be either one of those two. It could change depending on how they play. But I definitely think, what was it? Paratici had an interview yesterday and he talked about quality. You know, they're looking at the person before the player. The mentality is important. Players who are willing, who want to be here, who have the mentality that Conte has. They want to win. They want to follow what the manager says. They're not going to be complaining because they're being subbed off. They know that everything's being done for a reason. If those are the kind of players we have, that's winning mentality. When Højbjerg came in, he also said that the only way to win is to have 11 leaders on the pitch. And recently this season that hasn't been the case. So, but I do feel that we have more leaders in now.
Yeah, leaders is a very good point. Yeah, Bentancur especially is, when you say leaders, I'd just say about like the desire to want to play in that team. You know, Dele Alli didn't want to. Let's hope he gets the ground running at Everton, of course, but like it was never going to get going again for him in a Spurs shirt. He needed that fresh kind of move and that fresh start. And the same goes with Ndombele. Looked like he didn't want to be there. Same with Lo Celso, sort of walking around the pitch and providing nothing. So I think you're right in terms of leaders, and I think it's going to also bring a lot of motivation for the other players. For example, like Lucas Moura and Bergwijn have really got to compete for their place now in the team over Kulusevski, who's going to come in hungry, wanting to be in that first team. So I think it adds a lot of options for Spurs, not just in terms of those two players, but obviously it pushes the other players as well in the right direction, I think. Joe, I'm going to come back over to you. What are your thoughts on the transfers out? Do you think they were all the right moves, or do you think perhaps Bryan Hill is the one that's questioned about a lot? Obviously got off the bench a lot of times for Spurs this season already. Obviously not much game time from a starting point of view, if any, I don't think. But do you think maybe Bryan Hill should perhaps have not been loaned out to Valencia?
No, I agree with it. I agree with the loan. He wasn't really playing, and at that age, you need to be playing. Even just if it's a confidence thing, you know, he's kind of been sitting and having little cameo appearances here and there. He's your player, so you know, there's no worries about that. But I think putting him back to his homeland, getting him playing, getting you know, a bit of momentum under his belt, he can come back next season and give it a real crack. But I just don't think this season it was really right for him. Not to say that he's not going to make it. You know, he's still young, so I've got to give him a chance. I haven't been overly impressed, but it's a very overwhelming move to make. So I'm going to cut him some slack on that one. But I think it's probably right. And, you know, if he's already doing well at Valencia, then great. They got a decent team, a great following. I think it's good for him, hopefully. And obviously, Dele had to go. You know, I even not as a Spurs fan, like, I love Dele. When he broke onto the scene, like 2015, it was great. And I was like, this is England's next big thing. Just hasn't gone for him, you know, ever since Poch went, it's kind of his like spark's gone and he needed it being rekindled. So I think that was a good move, and obviously it's a bitter one for all you guys because he's your boy, isn't he? Yeah, you know. But no, I think it's right. I think they've done the right moves. No one's gone out that I've kind of been a bit surprised by or thought it was dodgy. I think it's decent from your perspective.
Yeah, great point. Great points, and I think you're right about Hill to an extent. Like he needs that extra game time. He will get that extra game time. I think for me, the point I made the other day was, at the end of the day, if these other clubs don't come in for him, then Valencia is a good option. But if a club in the Championship high up, or maybe even a Premier League team like sort of like a Palace level, or maybe even like a Norwich came in for Bryan Hill, I think that would have been a better move, just so he can physically adapt to the Premier League, because we know he's a good player in La Liga. That's kind of one of the reasons we bought him, and he'll probably go on to be a good player for Valencia. But unfortunately, I feel like the physicality is a big factor. Like he doesn't seem bulky enough. You think when Ollie Skip went on loan to Norwich, he really bulked up and came back a really solid player and starts a lot of games for Spurs now. So I do think that would have been my only thing, but I think it's the right move to get him more game time. I do agree with you on that. Wayne's in, he says, finally, football's back. Coys are 2 new boys to start on the bench, I reckon, and at least 1 to come on, depending on how the game goes, or just to get them used to how Conte's team plays. I think you're right, Wayne. I think we might see them both. Certainly one of them. I think Kulusevski's the more likely, but let's see. Bentancur scored in 1 minute for the Uruguayan national team the other night. Great goal as well. Paz is in here. Big up, Paz. He says, keep up the good work, lads. Your up-to-date Spurs info is fantastic. The team are refreshed now. No excuse to lose to the Brighton game tomorrow. I'm going tomorrow with my sons, of course, Alessio and Jin, and we're going to expect to win this. Coys, Paz, hope you enjoy it, mate, and cheer loudly for us, and bring home that entry into that next hat, because it won't be a good day if we're out to Brighton, that's for sure. But yeah, I love your positivity. I think the team is refreshed, and I do think we really will give it a great crack tomorrow. Lockman's in here, says, hi everyone, big yourself up. Lockman, I hope you're doing well, mate. Hashtag Levy out as well. Yeah, like a bit of opinions in here, mate. If you want to come on and discuss your Levy out opinions, it's a fan finding show. Just let me know and we can get you on. Exposure Channel says Delhi going to do great for TikTok FC.
Oh man.
And all the best, Paz. Yeah, so I think that's a fair reflection. I really do, in terms of feeling refreshed for the game tomorrow. I think Spurs fans are really excited to see these two new signings. I certainly am. Andre, what are your opinions on how they'll fit in tomorrow? Do you think they'll start off the bench, or do you think one of them will start in the starting 11?
Well, I think Winks would probably start with Højbjerg, to be honest, and then he'd probably bring one or two of them, as it was said. But actually, the thing I want to focus even more on is to see how Lamptey does, right? Because that's someone that Tottenham's looking at for the summer. And I want to see if he gets Bergwijn or whoever's on that right side. I want to see if he has them in his pocket or not, Yeah. That'd be interesting to see as well. So it'd be almost like a weird thing where I don't want to see that player get pocketed by Lamptey, but also seeing that would be good, because then that further shows Tottenham and us as fans how important he would be to our team.
Yeah,
it'll be a threat the other way as well.
Yeah,
he
100%.
bombs up that wing, so you need to make sure your defense is on point on that side, or you're in trouble.
Yeah,
very good point. Yeah, Lamptey is a big watch tomorrow. It's almost like a scouting exercise as well. Very good point.
Oh no, I don't know when he came back.
No, I think Basuma is available. Yeah, because they got knocked out really early, didn't they? Mali.
Yeah, they lost to Guinea, I think. Equatorial Guinea.
Yeah, spot on. What are your predictions for tomorrow? I guess that's one of the questions I haven't asked yet. What are your guys' predictions? And if you're in the chat still, make sure you give us your predictions in the chat, and we'll read them out. I'll start things off. I'm going for a 2-1. I think it'll be a scrape win. I think Brighton will score, and I just don't see Brighton scoring more than one, because I feel like they're team XG, aren't they? They like to have a lot of shots and a lot of chances, but they don't actually score many. As you said, Joe, they have a lot of 1-1 draws, and I just don't think Brighton will score more than one away from home at us. And I think we'll scrape a 2-1. I could see it going to extra time, to be honest with you. But let's see how it pans out. Just please, not penalties. Joe, I'll go over to you first. What are your opinions on the game tomorrow? Your honest opinions.
Yeah, I thought 2-1 as well. Obviously, Brighton don't score too many, but they also don't let too many in, so it'll be a tough one. Obviously, if you do play Kane, then you got one of the best strikers in the world to, try and run at them. And they've been a bit reshuffled at the back. Dan Burn was a big player, like in the dressing room and also in their team, who's gone to Newcastle. So I think they'll take it seriously. It depends on the starting 11. Obviously, you're desperate to get into Europe, and they're kind of on the cusp of it. They're only 6 points behind you guys.
Yeah, it's close.
But I still think that's pretty ambitious, to say the least. So they're quite happy. They've had a good season. They'll just be looking at getting as many points as they can. And, if they can get a cup run in there, why not? So they'll probably be quite strong. And they made the semi-final like 3 years ago. I remember they only lost 1-0 to Man City at Wembley, which was tight. But it depends who you play. But I think 2-1's probably a fair reflection. The only problem for them is it doesn't matter what strength of team they play, they struggle to score. So should be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't, like you said, they're really low at scoring. If they could bag more goals, I know it sounds silly, they would probably be right up there, because they got a solid defense. They're well put out by Potter. They got great tactics, but up front, the goals are very dry, and they get plenty of chances, a lot of chances. Probably
it's always been a problem, isn't it? Even when we watched them in the Championship, they're Tom Ahmed, who was all right, Glenn Murray, that kind of held his own for as long as he could, and they've never really found a decent, I mean, 20 goals is obviously not going to happen in the Premier League, really, but just to get to 10, if you look at their top scorers at the last few seasons, they've got 3 or 4 people stuck on like 4 or 5, or maybe even 6 if more paid bags a few. It's so shared, which is good, but Trossard moving to a centre forward has not really worked too much for them consistently. They just need a decent centre forward, and but Brighton aren't the team to go out and spend loads of money. I mean, is Kiedo still on one of their like top 3 signings or whatever?
Yeah.
So they just kind of try and get the gems and work their way up. I mean, we saw their under whatever 18 side recently. They're going to be very good in the future, but for now they got a problem still.
Yeah, very good points, Joe. Kev's in here. Big yourself up, Kev. He says a lot of players have played well against us. We signed and they have bombed. Yeah, exactly that. And Mark's also in here. Says 3-0 Spurs. 3-0 Spurs. Well, that is confident.
Wow.
That is confident. Wayne's just talking to the other guys in the chat. John's in here. How you doing, John? He says, evening, gents. Spurs 3, Brighton 1. Another very confident, bold prediction. I like it. Mark's going for his scorers as well. He's going Kane 2 and Gulu's going to get one debut. Wow.
That'd be cool.
See, I think this prediction from Wayne's good, and I could see this one as well. 1-0 Tottenham. I do think it will be very tight. I really do. I think there's only going to be a goal difference. So it's a good prediction, Wayne. And Kev says, bit like our scoring record this season. Yeah, exactly that. Did I get your prediction, Andre?
No, I'll say 2-1 as well.
Okay.
I see us conceding, but I do see us seeing it out. I see that happening. Conte just has a way of changing things in the second half, which I haven't seen in a long time in these past few seasons. But ever since that Leeds game, things have been different. Whenever we're doing poorly in the first half, I don't know what he says. It would have been great to have an Amazon documentary to see what he says, but I guess that's just between him and the players. He just riles them up. They come out and they get the result. But the thing is, Brighton also, even though they don't score much, they know how to get a result.
Yeah, good point.
That's the important part. You can score 3 goals, but if you're going to concede 3, then whatever. But they have a way of just making sure they get a point at least. So I could see them trying to just get all the way to penalties and hope for luck,
Yeah, I can see that as well. Yeah, I think they'd be very happy with extra time. And I feel like also extra time might not be a burden for us. Now, I would be worried if it was under Nuno, but obviously we cover the most ground in the Premier League at the moment, as Joe's write-up showed us recently. So, we've gone from the team that covers the least ground to the team that covers the most ground. Joe, do you think that's positive or negative going into extra time? Do you feel like that is a sign that, well, we're running a lot more in 90 minutes, maybe that's going to affect our fitness and endurance in extra time? Or do you think that's a good thing for extra time as well?
It's a mixture. Obviously, you're going to naturally be more tired, but at the same time, just when you're covering more ground, it means the opposition have to be on the ball a lot more, and that's them moving more as well. And when you've got people sprinting at you the whole time, mentally, you're constantly, you can't rest. So mentally, it's draining as well. If you can keep it up, obviously they can't probably keep that up for as long, but yeah, you can't. I don't think there can be a negative brought out of the fact that you cover that much ground. Obviously, you don't want extra time too much. If you're covering that much ground consistently, it might, have a like negative effect on the squad. But I don't think there's a negative. I think it's great. I think it's, as I said, like playing football a lot. When you do that much, or if you've got a team that's literally constant, then it tires you out as well. It's kind of a transactional thing with the opposition.
Yeah, exactly that. So do you in overall do you expect that extra time might not be as much of a burden as some fans may think it is?
No, I don't think it'd be too bad.
Okay.
And especially when I don't. To be fair, Brighton have surprised me recently. They've gone from sitting back and trying to get a result like all the time to, against Chelsea, they took the game to them when they were properly up for it. But I feel like if it got to extra time, they probably kind of settle for a draw. So I don't think it'd be too bad. In this match, it would be too bad anyway. Going forward against some of the other teams, potentially. But no, I think I can't see it going extra time. It might do. Obviously, it's tight, but we'll see.
Absolutely. Brilliant stuff, Joe. As it is the fans phone-in show, we have got a couple of people lined up in the waiting room. I can see them waiting. So I'm going to bring one in at a time. I'm going to go with Ellie first. Kane, I can see you're in that back room, mate. So we'll get you in just maybe 5-10 minutes if you can still make that. Obviously, let us know in the private chat. But we welcome on in Ellie. Ellie, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Sorry, I was just having dinner, cooking for my husband, so I couldn't come on earlier. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. No worries. We appreciate your time, and
no problem.
No, we're looking forward to hearing your insights into obviously the game at the weekend, and obviously the transfer window. I think let's start off by obviously asking you about the transfer window. Were you happy with it overall?
Sort of. I would have liked to have got another striker, to tell you the truth, and maybe a creative midfielder rather than a defensive, because we've got 2 defensive midfielders who are doing a grand job for us already. I think he's brought in Bentancur to cover, because I think he wants to give Højbjerg a rest, because he's played flat out for 2 seasons nearly, hasn't he? Or one whole season and a half a season. So, and sometimes you can shows, in Højbjerg's performances, it does drop because he's so knackered out.
Yeah, true.
And we
Yeah,
need to save his legs really, because he's a really crucial part of our cog in midfield.
yeah, good point. So to kind of summarize what you're saying there, you almost feel like centre mid wasn't like a priority, but at the same time, it's obviously great backup for Højbjerg and Skip and Winks as well. Yeah, I'd agree. With the
I was thinking.
Yeah, no, good point. With the creative midfield player, what kind of player did you want to see join? Obviously, I guess you're under the thinking same as us, as we never really properly replaced Christian Eriksen a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Who was it you like to have seen come in, or maybe even looking ahead to the summer, who would it be that you'd like to see in a Spurs shirt?
Well, ideally, I would have liked Ward Prowse. But other than that, I wouldn't have mind McNeil from Burnley, because he's got a nice touch, got a good background, started off at Man United, done fantastically well for Burnley, and I think he would have been a really good addition because he keeps the ball so well, and he's got a good eye he's got a good vision, the lad. You know,
he's actually an underrated player. He's actually an underrated player, to be fair.
I know.
Good point.
He reminds me of Dembele, but maybe not the physical strength of Dembele, but he's got the ball skills.
Yeah.
Maybe not as high as Dembele, but he reminds me with his style. He's quite laid back, never loses the ball, always links up play really well. I like him. Yeah.
Good shout. And you also said, what other position was it you wanted to focus on?
I would have liked to have got a striker in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? There's so many strikers, but well, Vlahovic was the ideal one, I would suppose. But other than that, I would say, I don't know. You know, it's thin on the ice with strikers, isn't it, at this time of the year?
Yeah.
So, who would I like to have brought in? Probably, you know what? Probably Chris Wood, because because he can come off the bench and get you a goal. You know, and he wouldn't mind sitting on the bench because he's at that age where, you know, he's not going to get always game time at whatever club he goes to. But he reminds me of Llorente a bit, you know, and he's big and tough, can hold the ball up well, and he knows the league inside out, doesn't he? So it wouldn't have been such a gamble as bringing in a young upstart from the European leagues.
Yeah, good point. Obviously, Newcastle paid 25 million, was it, Joe, for Chris Wood?
That sounds like she's an admirer of Burnley a little bit.
Yeah, are you sure you're not a Burnley fan?
No, do you know what it is, right? Because those 2 players, they've been stalwarts for Burnley, and you'll always get a game out of them. They give effort. You know, you always look for players who are committed, you know, and we maybe haven't had that. Have we?
Yeah.
At least we got rid of the 3 that weren't committed. That's one good, clean slate out of the club. You know,
yeah,
so
good point.
We can start afresh now. I like the look of Kulu, and he can get you a goal as well. Yeah, so hopefully it'll be a top 4 finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think we got a toxic headshot in here? Says Chris Wood is trash. There's always obviously an opposing opinion to every argument. But what I was going to say, Ellie, is obviously Chris Wood cost Newcastle 25 mil. Would you have said he would have been 25 million well spent for Tottenham?
I think Daniel Levy would have got him for 12.5, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, good point.
I think he would have. He would have negotiated that one. Or
Yeah,
he
good
probably
point.
might have thrown in the Celso as a, you know, I have him.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's actually class. Kevin says Conte's system 3-4-3 requires solid midfielders, not creators as such. That comes from the wing backs and the 2 stroke number 10s, which leads me on to a question. Actually, I'll let the boys ask you a couple of questions after. But I was going to say, sort of, obviously, Adama Traore was the link for the best part of a month. Were you someone that wanted him? Because I know some fans did and some fans didn't.
Do you know what? You don't even know whether we made a bid, because there's contrary to belief. There's so many stories that say we did make a bid, and there's other stories saying that we didn't. So, and then even if we did, we acted too slow. I would have, I would have liked to have seen him, because he is an exciting player. All right, he doesn't have end products, but what he could have done is bombed down the wing and passed it to Lucas or to Bergie, and then they could have done the pass, or even to Kulu. Now we've got Kulu, and he would have been a fantastic player to bring the ball from defence to midfield and to the attack, because that's what we're lacking. We haven't got enough players who bomb forward and actually got that final ball. The thing is, he hasn't got it either, but he could pass. He could bring it to us, So I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get him, to tell you the truth. Yeah,
good point. It would have been an exciting one. You're spot on with that. It would have offered something different. I think is what you're trying to put forward there.
Offered us something different. True.
Yeah, definitely. Ellie, I want to hear about. Like I said, I'll go to the boys and might have a couple of questions for you. But I was going to go with the question of, obviously, tomorrow. How are you feeling about the game? Do you think we'll get the points to get? Not even the points. The win against Brighton to progress.
Well, first of all, I'm going with my 3 daughters, so that's going to be very special. We haven't been to a match since Van der Vaart played all together anyway.
Oh, wow. That's a long time ago, yeah.
I go
10
to
years ago.
Matches, but they sort of gone dry. Only my big girl, Angela, she's sort of hot. Yeah, so I'm thinking cup games are different, right?
Yeah.
So I think Brighton are going to go for it, and we'll go for it. So it'll be an exciting match, and I think we'll win the match 3-1 because we can finish better than them. That's proven right through the seasons. They lack a finisher, don't they? And more pay will get you 10 goals. Welbeck probably the same. But it's a cup game, so I think it's going to be more open than people think. I don't think there's going to be that much tactical play amongst the managers. I think they're just going to say, go out and enjoy it, lads, and get the victory.
Yeah, spot on. Do you see it going the distance, or do you think we'll win in 90 minutes?
That's a hard one. I think we'll win in 90 minutes, to tell you the truth, because I think we've got too much for them. They are a good side, don't get me wrong, but I think we're a better side. Overall, we're a better side, player for player. You pick our players over there. Maybe 2 players we'd have from them, in my opinion, would be Basuma and Lamptey. That's all I would take from their team.
I think that's a fair reflection. Yeah, I would pretty much agree with that. Maybe even you might push it as far as
Lallana.
Lallana. I was going to say potentially Lewis Dunk.
Very technically gifted player. You don't go to Liverpool if you're not a good player, isn't it?
Yeah, Joe, I know you're a big fan of Lallana. What are your thoughts on Lallana for tomorrow?
Yeah.
I love Lallana. He's you saying you want him at Tottenham? Really?
No. Ellie was saying,
he's a cultured player. I like him because
he's very good.
Even though he might not start all the games, he's a good, experienced player to bring on. Like with Liverpool when they bring on, what's his name? Can't think of his name now. But anyway, they bring on that old geezer at Liverpool.
Milner.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
No, I think Lallana's amazing. I loved him at Liverpool. He's a fan favourite. He always gave us all. You could see the experience he had, the love he had. That's the thing. Like first and foremost, he loves the game. He loves the team, and But he's a Sussex boy. I think he is. He went to Southampton. And he's Brighton now. He doesn't play a lot, but as you said, a lot of experience. And if Tottenham do leave gaps, he'll pick them. He'll pick open the holes if he does feature tomorrow.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Joe, but Southampton isn't in Sussex. But moving on very swiftly.
He was from further south.
It's Hampshire, isn't it?
Yeah, Hampshire.
Yeah.
I swear he wasn't from Southampton, though.
I thought that's what you said.
He's from further south, but he obviously played at Southampton.
Oh, we'll let you off. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Joe.
Okay.
Ellie, you said about you think we'll scrape it in 90 minutes. What would your score prediction be? Are you going for a 2-1, 2-0?
I think I'm sticking with 3-1.
3-1. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sticking with 3-1.
Got you.
I hope Sonny plays or comes off the bench at least.
Yeah, apparently he's fit to play, so it'll be nice to see
Yeah.
him feature for sure. Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
Andre, have you got a question for Ellie? Obviously, the fan phone-in show. I'm sure you've got a lots ready to attack the guests with. I say attack, you know what I mean?
Attack. All right, let's tone it down. I'm gonna ask a nice simple question here. Ellie, can you tell
Yeah.
us who your favorite player is?
That goes without doubt. Everybody knows that Højbjerg is my favourite player. I love him.
Pierre.
What a
Legend.
general on the pitch. He gives his all. And when he's off form, which he has 2 or 3 games, he's been a little bit off form, right? He still gives 100%. And people don't realise, right? He scored 3 goals this season, right? He's also made a lot of through balls that have led to goals, all right? And he
Right.
also, I watch him really intently, he directs everybody to get into their positions. Because a lot of our players are a bit naive. They like when they're coming out with the ball, they're not the best passers of the ball. And we tend to lose it a lot. And then he has to backtrack. So I think he's a wonderful player. I'm just putting my hat on Højbjerg because I'd love him to be our future captain as well.
Yeah,
Because
no, it's a good choice. It's a good
I
choice.
love him. I think he's a great player. He's not the most technically gifted player, but he reminds me of Steve Perryman when he dropped back to the back four, and he
Okay.
can play that sweeper role, right, really, really well. And because he's got heart, the man, you know, he plays for the badge, and you can see him geeing up the crowd all the time. I love that when the player is passionate about our club, and he's been at our club 1.5 years only, you know, and I can't praise him enough. I love him. Everybody knows that on the streams. I get it
yeah.
sometimes, but I can take it.
Yeah, I saw an
I could
Irish
be his
Hotspur
PR
once.
lady, just put it that way.
I saw an Irish Hotspur once. You were Ndombele, was it? So I didn't know if it was on Ndombele, but also I saw a Højbjerg
the
one.
Irish Hotspur gave me that nickname because obviously Ellie's links up with my name. And
Of
actually,
course
he
he
was
did.
playing well at the time. He was actually playing well at the time, and he was getting into the team and performing okay. You know, most of the matches he was okay. And he was doing like little flicks here and there, which were amazing. But then he just hasn't got it, has he? Like to make it as a top footballer, you need to be. You just can't rely on your talent only. You've got to give it the graft as well.
Spot on.
You know?
Absolutely.
Look at Gaza. He had all the talent, but he had graft as well.
That's why he was, exactly, world-class player. Absolutely, Ellie.
World-class player. Yeah.
Spot on. Brilliant, honestly, brilliant knowledge there, brilliant opinions. Ellie, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your time, and enjoy the game tomorrow with your daughters. We really hope you do.
Thank you very much.
We'll speak to you soon. All the best.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a nice evening. Bye. Right, we've got our next guest in the waiting room. We've got Kane the long shot, the guy that's always on our streams, always putting in a chat in the live chat. So let's welcome him in. Kane, how you doing, mate?
Big up, guys. You can hear me, no problem?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's Nick, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I go by both. I'm in the group chat, so I've seen you there, James. So most people know me as Nick there, but I'm also pretty active in the comment sections for Spurs content. So you will see my username there as well.
Brilliant. Yes, I saw you. I saw someone called Nick replied, but I didn't put the name to the YouTube account, so I got it now.
Yeah.
But no, how you doing, mate? Are you good?
Yeah, doing good, man. Really positive, honestly. Really, really positive coming out of this transfer window. I think we did a lot of really good moves. Looking forward to tomorrow. Like I said earlier, man, with the transfer window, it feels like it's been way too long since we've had a Spurs game. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was just saying to the others at the start of the stream, it feels like it's been so long since we played at home in the FA Cup. Was obviously the last one was Morecambe, but that was like what 3-4 weeks ago. It feels like it's been a while. But how are you feeling for the game tomorrow? Obviously, you said you're positive, but are you feeling positive about the outcome overall?
Yeah, I think we'll take it. It's going to be interesting, mainly because lately Brighton, they're really offensive. They're a really, really offensive team. You know, we saw them give it to Chelsea not that long ago. They got a draw from Liverpool. But historically, they do actually tend to sit back against us. So it's going to be interesting to see what tactic they decide to use, because Conte does like to play a more counter-attacking football with us. So we might see a case of two deep sitting teams kind of just waiting for the other one to pull the trigger. So it'll be an interesting match, but I do think we'll take it. Like Ellie said, we have much better finishers. Son is coming back. We have Kane, who seems to be really firing again. I think ultimately we will take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on about the finishes as well. Like Brighton really struggle up front, don't they, with Maupay, Trossard. I mean, obviously they create a lot, but they don't really. They've got brilliant wing backs. Cucurella's been fantastic for them this season. So has obviously Lamptey, who we're linked with. And I think you're right. Obviously, the centre mids are good. Basuma, really solid player. We've been linked with him. And just up front, Maupay and Trossard, they're good players, but they just don't know how to put the ball in the onion sack. And it's definitely a concern for a Brighton point of view, because they're doing great. They're getting a lot of draws. But if they could turn those draws into wins with just a couple more goals, they would really be up there, wouldn't they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those things where Brighton, with the way they play, they will almost always grab that one goal just to sneak it through. But I think, like Ellie said, we could definitely see us putting 2-3 past them. I can see a 3-1 finish easy. That's kind of the problem. When you don't take your chances, you might get one in, but against some better teams, you can't stop all of the shots. And our XG lately has just been right through the roof. Under Conte. We've really taken a lot of shots, so I think we'll put some past them.
Yeah. I hope you're right, mate. You're feeling a lot more positive than I am. I said about a scraped win. I know Andre said 3-1 as well, so you kind of both agreeing on that one. Kev's just said you guys really need to stop saying they don't score as much. You know what will happen. Spurs. Good point. Very good point.
It's true.
No. How are you feeling, Nick, about the transfer window? Obviously, Kulusevski coming in, Bentancur. I did ask this question to the other guests as well. Do you think they're great signings, and do you think overall we had a good window? Like, if you had to rate it out of 10, maybe, obviously with the 4 going out, or 5 technically. How did you see the window?
Yeah, so I agreed with maybe 6.5, 7 out of 10 with that Andre said earlier. It wasn't a fantastic window. There's no such thing as a 10 out of 10 window. Every fan is always going to want more. You can sign 11 players. Everyone's going to ask, why didn't you bring number 12 in? That's the nature of being a fan. You always want more. But I think this window, more important than getting players in, was getting players out. I think we really saw with this window, anybody that wasn't buying into Conte's ideas, buying into the system that he's putting out there, they just need to be gone. You know what I mean? We saw reports recently that Gio, was kind of a not so popular figure behind the scenes. Kind of made it be known whenever he wasn't in the team that he wasn't happy. And Ndombele, what more needs to be said? I don't think he wanted to be here from day one. I think his agent probably convinced him that the money would be too good to pass up, but he's never wanted to be here. Dele, as much as it pains me to see him go, it's the best move for everybody. He needed something fresh. So it's more about getting those players out and really kind of focusing on just building the squad's mentality, the togetherness to make that push for top 4. Because we know, a lot of reports have been saying that really we're going to make our moves in the summer. We're going to do a big rebuild in the summer. And the most important thing for that is going to be getting top 4. So hence why we're getting these guys out of here. It doesn't matter. Dele, you can pay us later for him. And Ndombele, loan deal, Gio, loan deal. Just get them out the door so Conte can get a smaller squad that really buys into him. Focus on getting top 4. And really just kind of get that push, But we did bring in some good signings. Honestly, Kulusevski, I'm a huge fan of. I think that a couple of years ago, that kid, he was one of the wonder kids in Europe. Everyone was looking at Kulusevski like, oh my God, he's gonna be a star. He kind of went off the boil a little bit, playing a different system. But I think what people kind of forget is that he was brought in for a completely different system than what Allegri's doing now. So when he was in Parma playing fast counter-attacking football, he was really on fire, putting through balls in, sneaking in goals, burning up the wing. He's not really suited for a possession-based team like Juve is. He's not used to that. So we would actually see probably the best of him coming out of a Conte system that does like to play off possession and play counter-attacking football.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Really good point. And like you said, he did much better at Parma. And the other thing to remember is Cristiano Ronaldo obviously played alongside him at Juventus for quite a bit.
Yeah.
And he rates him as a player as well, which is obviously promising signs. If you want, one of the goats of football to sort of comment on that, it's very promising. And he's still very young as well, 21 years old. Like, he's got his whole career ahead of him. And the fact he's already played at a very high level, it's just a really positive aspect.
It's crazy when you compare him to Brian Hill. They're almost the same age. Kulusevski, I feel like he's done so much more, putting in real shifts at Juve and had some really breakout seasons over at Parma. So, with him, and then Betancourt to me is a quintessential Conte signing. There's obviously a lot of people want that creative mid because creativity is something that our squad's really been lacking since Eriksen left. But Conte doesn't really play a creative mid. That's never really been his system. The only times he's really had that kind of deep-lying playmaker, creative midfielder, is when it was forced upon him, like when Pirlo went to Juve. And Pirlo even said he had a really hard time when he first showed up trying to convince Conte to play him. Same with Eriksen. How long did it take Eriksen to bed into the Milan squad? That's just not Conte's style. He likes to have either one or two box-to-box midfielders and a holding mid. That's the way he likes to play. So we see that holding mid in Winks. We see the box-to-box with Skip, with Højbjerg. So Bentancur can play both. He can play a holding mid. He can play a box-to-box. That perfectly is suited for Conte's system. He's a hard worker. What's also crazy, I think another thing is for being so young, he's only 24, 25, but he's been a real staple in the Juventus side that's won multiple Serie A's. I think he's got 3 Serie A's under his belt, has almost like 30 or 40 Champions League appearances. Wow. He's coming in with some real experience, on the big stage that, not many in our team have.
And he's a winner, as well, isn't he? He knows how to win a game. So,
exactly, And then we saw him score in 1 minute, the other day, his first goal for Uruguay. That beautiful half volley right at the edge of the box.
Great.
So I think both of these guys really do add, to our team. And that's what makes me feel positive, especially going into the second half of the season. We really needed, it might be a leaner squad, but having everybody pushing in the same direction, getting players who are not part of that out, and getting everybody really to make that push for top 4 with some really big personalities and some tactical versatility that we see these guys bring to us. We're seeing the squad shape into a Conte team. I think that's important.
Yeah, 100%, 110%, Nick. You got a couple of admirers in the chat already as well. Kev G says Nick's dropping the sense. Dejan Kulusevski's even in here himself. Says, cheers, Nick. You're right, lads. Don't sweat, Brighton. It's easy. GG. So there you go. John said, according to the press, Dele was toxic in the dressing room. Do you sort of see that as part of your point in terms of getting rid of the dead wood, getting rid of that sort of horrible sort of feeling in the dressing room, horrible attitudes, getting rid of that and starting fresh?
Yeah, it's a lot of things. With Dele, it's one of those things. We've all been there. You work at a job for too long, and you don't feel like you're being treated as well as you should be. You tend to just, you don't give 100%. Everybody's been there. Everybody's been at a job for too long that they didn't want to be at. So with Dele, you know what I mean. It wasn't working. Anybody that's on TikTok when their team is playing just doesn't have any business being part of that team. You know what I mean? You need to be there supporting, even if you're not playing. I've played and there have been times when I was on the bench or in the reserves even, and guess what? I'm still there giving my support because I want to give everything I possibly can, even if it's not on the pitch. And if you're not doing that, you don't need to be there.
Absolutely.
And we've had, what's interesting is over the past few years, our squad's really struggled to get players out. How long did we hold on to Danny Rose? How long did we hold on to Eriksson? Even Delhi.
long.
How long have we held on to Delhi? You know what I mean? We had an issue for a long time about just getting players out the door. And that was one of the criticisms leveled at Paratici when he came in was, he has a hard time getting players out. But we saw his ruthless side, this transfer window. Whatever the case may be, whether that's, performance leveled or performance based payments like with Delhi or, just getting them out the door on loan, you need to go. That's it. We don't have any room for passengers on the squad. If you're not part of the team pushing, whether that's in training, whether that's on the bench, whether that's at the hotel room, if you're watching it on TV, whatever the case may be, if you're not part of it, go.
Yeah, you're
and
spot
on the point with Ndombele is so we paid 65 million for him in pounds, but we haven't paid all of that off yet. So I think we still owe roughly around 25 to 30 million on that deal. So that is potentially can be used as a make weight on his buy clause. So if they offer 65 million euros, we can basically chop that in half by saying, look, pay, half of it and then use the rest of the debt that we owe you and just strike that out. That gets the numbers off of our book, makes him cheaper for Lyon to just go ahead and get on a permanent deal. And from the looks of it, that's what the plan is. Ndombele himself was the one, so it's reported, that pushed for that buy clause and that buy option in there. And he himself is subsidizing some of the wages that Lyon is covering. So it looks like he's out the door.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the wages point, like everyone was saying, what a guy for subsidizing his wages to go. I mean, I'm not being funny. That actually just highlights the fact that he just wanted to leave so much. I mean, it's kind of a bit silly saying, what a guy. You're not really. The guy doesn't want to be in our shirt, for goodness sake. That's how much he doesn't want to be in our shirt. Getting a pay cut and paying it himself is just... It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it says more about him than it says about than anything else of just how badly he does not want to be with us. You know what I mean? There were rumors just going into his first training session with Pochettino when he first came in that he didn't like it. You know what I mean? He's not wanted to come in since day one. I don't know why he came. It was said earlier, on the Irish Hotspur, it's really telling that a lot of clubs were circling around him. When he was at Lyon after that really great season, Real Madrid was in for him. Barcelona was in for him.
Yeah.
And yet all of them just quietly pulled out of the race, and I think that largely has to do with they saw in him behavioral problems. And it goes back to the beginning of his career going to the youth team. And of course, that gave us the opportunity to step in, which we completely overpaid for him. Imagine bringing Tanguy Ndombele in on higher wages than Hugo Lloris.
Yeah.
Hugo Lloris, with all that he's done and given to our club, bringing in this kid, doesn't want to train, doesn't really like to put in any effort, plays the style of football he feels like playing. You know what I mean? Just it didn't make any sense. And when you have that, when you bring that into the locker room, whether intentional or not, that's going to just cause divisions.
Yeah, you're spot on. Honestly, some of the points you made are absolutely excellent. Listen, Nick, we're running out of time, so I'm just going to end off by asking you for your score prediction tomorrow, and just to briefly, obviously, explain that as well.
I say it's going to be 2-1. Personally, I think it's going to be 2-1. I can see Kane getting a goal in. I think, like we said earlier, Brighton, they do have that one goal in them, but we do just have more shots on target. I think we are going to dominate the game, at least on the counterattack. We're going to bring them onto us. We're just going to go ahead and hammer them. I honestly can see Sonny coming in as a substitute. I think Bergwijn's going to start. And I think we're going to see a good game tomorrow. I think we got this. 2-1 for me.
2-1. 2-1. Got you. Yeah, look, I'm saying 2-1 as well. The guys next to me are saying 3-1. No, Joe, what did you say?
I think we both said 2-1.
Yeah, we all agreed on 2-1. Yeah.
Oh, okay, 2-1. Look at that, 2-1 all round.
Nick's on point here. He knows.
Yeah, it's a common theme. But Nick, thank you so much for joining us, mate. And I know you've been a massive, a regular in our chat as well. So big yourself up, mate. Really appreciate the support.
No, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Anybody that's watching, like, subscribe, follow these guys. They're putting out great content almost every day. Thank you so much for giving fans a platform, and keep up the good work, guys.
Thanks so much, mate, for your kind words. Really appreciate it. And we'll definitely get you on again for another fan phone in very soon, mate.
Yeah, man. Anytime I'm available, I'll be there.
Legend, mate. Have a great evening. Take care, mate.
You too, guys. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. And that brings us to the end of our fan phoning show, our very first one. We had a couple of brilliant guests talking some amazing opinions and some very interesting points brought up as well. Some points that maybe we wouldn't normally bring up ourselves, so it created some great talking points. Joe, Andre, did you enjoy that one?
Of course, I'm always eager to hear other opinions. Nick and Ellie both had some really great opinions. I didn't even realize, I don't know why it didn't hit me that Brian Hill and Kulusevski are only 1 year apart. But it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like, and I mean no disrespect to Hill, but Kulusevski, he's done more, so you bring him in, it doesn't even really hit you that they're only 1 year difference.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's almost like you got almost a mini experienced 21-year-old that's had experience in, Serie A, experience in the Champions League, experience at Parma, even at a lower level. He's had experience more than a lot of players have had in their mid-20s. So I think it's an unbelievable point there. Yeah, we'll definitely do more fan phone-ins, guys. We'll try and make it a regular thing on a Friday. So if you didn't get a chance to speak to us today and come on the show, let us know, message us, or do whatever it takes, and we'll get you on the show next time. But guys, that is all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, as everyone else said. Subscribe if you're new for more content. And obviously, come on, you Spurs tomorrow.
Come on, you Spurs.
Cheers, guys.